And here we are.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, as I tell everybody, we always have to give a proper introduction. Yeah, this is the introduction zone.
All right.
This young lady you guys are seeing at the bottom of my screen, I was pleased to meet physically 2 years ago. Even though I have to say, through Groove Theory, I knew about her probably 4 years before. Well, about 4 years ago,
Yeah.
we met each other on a random Saturday during Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago 2 years ago.
2 years,
At
yeah.
that point in time, I was doing a show on Scorch Radio online. The young lady appeared. She appeared in front of the station. She thought I was nervous to meet her, but I really wasn't nervous.
Oh, you wasn't? All right.
At the point in time, usually when it is that my brain is trying to multitask, it might seem like I'm not really in the moment, in the moment. But in an event, really and truly, she is somebody who I've gotten to know. We've grown a really good relationship, and she is actually one of the more talented DJs I've met. And I say DJ. I don't even want to say female DJ, right? And that's something that we're going to talk about tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, Trini born DJ Lady Drea is with us tonight. Yeah.
I might have to correct you.
Already?
Not Trini born.
Not Trini born?
No.
Really?
I am American born, yes.
You're American born?
I am American born. Don't take away from any of my my rightful Trini heritage. I assure you I'm probably as Trini as it can get. Yes, because it was really strange growing up in the United States with a fully predominant Trinidadian home. That's not very common, you know. So trust me, I think I had it hard, but but I am American born, unfortunately.
So I want to start there. So both your parents are Trinbagonian?
Correct. Yes.
And you so how has your connection with Trinidad and Tobago been since you, as you said, are American born?
American born.
But you've grown up in, I guess, a predominantly Trinbagonian household.
Exactly. So honestly, it was very predominant. Like, that's pretty much what I know. The outside world probably was American, or I grew up in New York. But as soon as I stepped in my household, it was a complete different transformation. I spent a lot of my years back and forth because my mom, she traveled a lot. So a lot of people, they see I travel now. Traveling has always been something that I'm accustomed to. My mom, big travel. So she'll always go back to Trinidad ever so often. I'm in Trinidad almost 5 times a year. Even to this day, I would say I go to Trinidad about 5 times, spend about 2 weeks, 3 weeks each time. Summertime, I would spend the entire summer though. So most of my adolescence, I can relate to growing up with my cousins and my grandparents in East Trinidad, as most would know.
Which part of Trinidad are your parents from? So
my mom is from the east, or people say central. Most people don't know the area, Centelina, but it's right. So when I say Piaco, people will be like, "Oh, you're from the airport?" No, it's a smaller town. They always do that. You can relate, right, Shomari? So my mom is from that side, and my dad is from actually south. So I have a taste of both the north side and the south side in my background.
So has your parents, or would you say your influences in music come from them, or it's come from elsewhere?
Definitely from them. My mom was a dancer, so a lot of where my musical interpretation comes from is I'm actually a percussionist, so like a professional percussionist. Yeah, I went to school for it. Yeah, and I actually learned to play the drums naturally when I was like about 4 or 5 years old. So that's a hidden talent. A few people know. But my mom was a folk dancer and my uncles were drummers, and drumming actually came natural to me. Did it in school. I got a scholarship to be a percussionist in college. I didn't take it though, because at that transitional period, me leaving high school into college, I had 3 loves: track and field, being a musician, and newly being a digital DJ.
Well, track and field explains why it is so strong and fit looking.
Exactly, right. Most of my adolescent years was known for running. I was running since I was probably like 11 years old, and just continued into my high school career.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and for whatever reason, the muscle mass, like, it just never go. Trust me, I don't run. I haven't run in like 5 years, I would say, honestly. But my mom, if you see my mom is a pretty fit woman. So I believe it is genetics.
I know it's so funny because even though I've been doing these one-on-one conversations, I call them conversations because I don't look at them as interviews.
No, they are convos.
At the same point in time, I learn a lot about people, especially people who I've known or have pre-existing relationships with.
Right.
That I did not know before. So I did not know that you were a professional percussionist. I really didn't know that.
Yeah,
so
that was my first.
All this time I've been thinking that you were born in Trinidad, but
right.
you are actually born American.
Right, I am.
Yeah. I just want to let everybody know if you have any questions to ask her to during the conversation, you can send it in the comments.
Yeah, definitely.
Or you can send me a message on Instagram at Shomari KRL. First of all, I want to get off the bat. Obviously, you live in New York right now.
Yes,
Queens,
New
right?
York based.
Queens,
yes.
Right?
So I have two locations, actually. And in this, I trust you, I trust the listeners. We could get real personal. A lot of people don't know that I actually reside in Long Island.
Right.
So Long Island, and my dad lives in Queens. Because I have, two separated parents, I have the benefits a lot of people don't. I get the best of both worlds. I could be in Long Island with my mom if I want to, and I could stay in Queens with my dad when I'm ready for some action to run away,
Yeah. So
I know a little bit later we're going to talk about, I remember something you wanted to ask me about my family and their religious practices.
Correct.
One half is very religious and the other half is absolutely not. So
that's something definitely we will get into. So obviously the coronavirus has taken everybody by I guess surprise to some extent, even if it is that you knew about it before. I don't think anybody could have anticipated that things have gotten to the level where it is right now.
Right.
As I tell people, for me it's a very surreal experience because I love New York. And every time I come to New York, I always visit Times Square because Times Square was kind of like, when I was a child, I always wanted to go Times Square and see all the screens and stuff.
I could relate, right.
It has been so strange to look on YouTube and see like live video of Times Square.
Empty.
It's a ghost town. So
empty.
I guess what I wanted to know is that for the people that may be looking at what is happening on the news, or they have no idea how serious things are in the States, and we in the Caribbean might be living in an isolated bubble. Are things as bad as they've been saying it is, in terms of the streets being empty, in terms of just the entire impact of the virus in New York? Has it been that bad?
Yes and no. Because I feel like there's much truth in what the media is showing, but I also feel like there's parts that are exaggerated. I could just add on to what you said. The Times Square being empty, it definitely is empty. And for most people to actually who've experienced Times Square before, they would know that place never sleeps, ever.
Right.
It could be 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and it would look like broad daylight. And to really go there now and experience like vacancy for almost a month now, that's how you could really tell the seriousness of the situation. So it is empty, definitely. I did see a video going around social media of, like a lot of, I would say corpse bodies, just out in the street or like in a grass field, and they kind of correlated that to being in New York City. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with it, but that wasn't in New York City. So there are many deaths, as the numbers would tell us. Right now, New York and the entire United States has the highest number of cases. We already surpassed China, which to me, it does prove that this is an issue. I was amongst one of the few that, thought maybe they're over-exaggerating the virus. It's just a flu. And when things really did start to hit home, then I really started to see like, maybe this is too something that we should pay a little bit more attention to. Because I have had personal friends come and tell me, my cousin tested positive. I had an auntie, and then I started to hear people telling me like, I had family members who are actually passing away due to coronavirus. So when it hits home, it has a different like effect on you, and I can attest a lot of people can say the same.
And that is important because I want to come back to the impact that has had on entertainment in total. But let me go back a little bit first to try to figure out, how did Lady Drea go from being a percussionist to a DJ?
To a DJ.
Right. So, yeah.
Very easy, you know. As many would know, if you all already know me, scratching is a technique that I use very heavily when I DJ. I like to consider myself a turntablist. So where that actually came into play was my experience with drumming. So the first time I actually heard turntablists, to me it sounded like drum solos. Right. And with my experience of being a drummer, I'm a soloist. I'm usually the lead drummer, and which I've learned, I've always take the lead role. So when I hear turntablist scratch music and the different sounds and the tones, to me, it just sounds like one big solo over a simple song. Right. So to me, it just correlated. I understood it. When most people will think like, oh, they're just making a lot of noise, to me, it sounded like an enhancement to the music. Oh. And right. So that was the first thing I started researching when I really got into the digital era. When I started to pick up music, virtual DJ just came out, right? Which was roughly 2010, 2011. And with that, I started, I had my laptop and I downloaded the program and I started messing around with it. I actually had a very large catalog of music. I was a music collector as well. I collected a lot of albums, a lot of music. I didn't have the opportunity to have much records, but I was around it. My brother, my older brother was into music as well. Right. And
because I think your brother and they were involved in the DJ scene as well, right?
Yes. Right, correct. Right, Selector Rara. And I actually have an uncle who's actually an MC, like a reggae singer. So they always did it amongst me. I was always in the midst of the music, them making songs and things like that. So it really came natural. And when I started to actually Google and research turntablism, I started to see like, this is a whole world. Yeah. I just wanted to, I was so eager to get into it. And I actually bought turntables before anything else. I just bought them. I purchased them from eBay because at that time Techniques were an antique. So I looked into it. I was like, I have to get these. These look so cool.
Yeah, because I think at that point in time that stopped selling Techniques. So
eBay was the only place I could have purchased them from. I got my first pair, got a next one, and I started to look into it. Then I found out about Serato, which is the current DJ program that most DJs use. Right. And from there, I really it was a hobby thing. And I taught myself how to mix. I taught myself how to blend. Scratching literally came like second nature to me.
So you self-taught yourself how to mix?
Correct, yeah. To me, it made sense.
You didn't have anybody who was like, yeah, well, this is how you do X, Y, Z or whatever. You taught yourself that on your own.
At first, I taught myself, but pretty much there wasn't much for me to learn. But there was one DJ who actually came from Trinidad, Barry Barnes. He, a really good friend of mine. Right. Barry, he was the first person to hear me, and he was just like, you have skills, who taught you that? And I was just like, nobody, me. And, even having an older brother who was into music, people would say like, oh, how come your brother didn't show you? If you're from the Caribbean, you would know sometimes your siblings, when you're in a big range of age, your time span never really meets. My brother's almost 10 years older than I am. So the time that I was interested, I was a young girl. In his eyes, I'm now reaching 16, 17, and he's already in his late 20s. There's not much we could have correlated at that time. Definitely a lot of my experience now, we have so much fun. Like me being in an older age, I'm meeting him in age now. There's a lot we can do now, but back then there wasn't so much we could have done. Right.
Obviously, the States and by extension for this conversation, New York is a huge market.
Completely, really big.
A huge market. And I saw my partner Justin just came up in the conversation, and I always remember coming to well, obviously, I've been back and forth a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
And going to events with Justin. It's like, we would go to Caribbean parties with just Japanese people. Yes,
that's how big.
So for me, do you think it's been a bigger challenge to you to market yourself in such a competitive environment with so many different places that you could find yourself, especially being somebody who is, I don't want to say heavily a Caribbean DJ, but obviously you have a lot of ties to Caribbean culture, yes, Caribbean music. So has it been challenging for you to market yourself as a Caribbean DJ in New York, or is it
definitely
right?
Hands down, I would say that it probably one of the biggest tribulations in my DJ career has been, marketing myself and finding, what really gets me heard or gets me booked. Right. And when for anybody coming into the entertainment business, you would realize that a lot of it, yes, you have to be talented, but later on you'll realize if people don't ever discover that talent you have, you may never be heard. So being discoverable is very important, and I realized that. That's something that
DJ Captain John mentioned last night in terms of being visible.
Right.
But this, I guess, is where I wouldn't say issue, but this is something that I personally think about when it comes down to my journey in this. A lot of times when it comes down to DJing, we look at ourselves as creatives, and sometimes it's very challenging to be able to be a DJ, a social media manager, an accountant, a person.
Tell me about it.
So you have to do everything.
Now.
Has it been challenging? Because I know for a point in time you had management.
Right.
Are you currently with a manager? And how much, I guess, input, if you are with a manager, how much input do you have in terms of what you do? And if you don't have management, is it challenging for you to balance all the aspects of this on your own?
So you're definitely right, Shomari. I did have management. At that time, I was juggling a lot. Juggling school, work, personal life, meaning work like an actual job, DJing. And during that transitional period, my bookings really started to skyrocket. So I didn't have that time to actually put into the craft of DJing and how demanding it required me to be. After a while, I actually stepped away from management, not for much reason behind other than, the game, and a secret here, the game doesn't actually profit as much as many may see it to profit.
Say that one more time, please. Say that one more time.
The game does not profit as much as the individual may think it does. You honestly can't pay yourself, pay a manager, pay a management team, pay even if you have a marketing team, if you want to have a photographer that rolls with you, the game doesn't provide the type of resources to pay those many people. It barely was paying me at one point in time, Right. And I believe longevity helps with that. And that's just something that takes time. So I did let go of my management and I started to do it on my own. I actually let go of my place of employment. So now I'm a full-time DJ. Right. So I did see it fit that, I can put myself in a position, let me do it all. I have a lot of free time. The average person in a day would go to a job for 9 to 5, 10 hours. And I had 10 hours of my day free versus, my actual job of being a DJ requires me to play in the night. So I had that free time. And even now, it's been a full year of me managing myself. And I could still say it's still very difficult. I actually started really putting out my brand, LDE, which is, most people will question, it's just me, Lady Drea Entertainment. So LDE it's me. And what I wanted to do with the brand was literally, I wanted to create a platform where individuals didn't really have to work as hard as I did to get from point A to point B. Not saying I can give you that platform, but at least I could give you the insight knowledge that I probably struggle to gain in my time. Not trying to stray from the management question, but, in my time coming up, it was difficult having people to advocate for me and, reaching out to other DJs and getting them to show me. To me, I thought it would have been a bed of roses, and unfortunately it wasn't. It was actually really difficult to get certain information from certain individuals to be put in certain positions. And then that's when I realized marketing would be a big part of my career. Yeah. And I actually found the formula for that from an early stage.
Right.
But it still didn't really help.
And that's something that actually brings me to two things. Let me speak about the second thing first, because that was the second question that I was going to ask you about. I'll come to that. Given the impact of the coronavirus right now on entertainment, and I say that because I don't think, as I said in the beginning, a lot of people anticipated that things would have gone this way when it comes down to the entertainment scene being affected by the coronavirus, right?
Right, yeah.
But it is now at a state where everything literally has shut down, right? Has there been any point in time during this period that you probably would have thought, yo, I probably shouldn't be doing this and I should probably find myself doing something else? Because now it doesn't just impact you being not just able to go out there, but it impacts your pocket. It impacts you financially.
Right, so it sure does.
How difficult has that been at this slowdown time? Or we could call it shutdown.
Shutdown, complete shutdown, because at this point in time, for full-time DJs, this is your income. And when your income literally halts at a full stop and it says you're not allowed to go to a gathering in which that's the only way you play music, unfortunately, your income gets put to a halt as well. A little update on the coronavirus as well. I was reading an article stating that, you know, the numbers hit almost like 1 million or probably more of
it's
unemployed
internationally,
Americans. And to me, that's a fact. I have so many friends.
Okay, I think we lost.
I'm back.
Yes, you're back. Yeah, you were saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. People now starting to ring off my phone now. But back to the unemployment. You know, the unemployment rate is actually raising, DJs included. Fortunately for me, I actually have a lot of great colleagues on my team that help with life, I guess, decisions. And one of those colleagues are, fortunately, my mom, who actually long ago, she... Back?
Yeah, still yeah.
You can hear me? Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so my mom actually encouraged me to gain a second income, a source of income.
Right.
And she actually, she never really like told me not to DJ. She just also said, you know, always have backup plans, always have other sources of incomes. And, you know, being a youth, you would kind of deter from that when you have a passion and you're very focused on your drive and your passion. But, you know, doing research, I'm a person, I like to research many different things. And, you know, something simple, I'm sure the average person, or maybe not, would research is how to be a millionaire. And that's something that I've looked up. And, you know, when I actually did my research, it proved to me that the average millionaire has like 7 different sources of income.
If only seven, and that's still minute. And I really thought about that, and I had the opportunity to work for a multi-million-dollar company before I actually retired myself. And I had close relations with the CEO of the company, both the CEO and the CFO, and they actually told me as well, you know, this business, being a multi-million-dollar business, is not our only source of income. They had many other smaller businesses. They had many different other things that they had their name attached to. And I always kind of kept that with me. So fortunately, I do still have an income that comes in. So I'm one of the better off. Right. And now that shows me that, you know, mommy did kind of speak a little bit of sense, you know, so I'm happy and fortunate that I did listen to that. But I can only, like, the impact on me not having my DJ money is still grand. So I can only imagine if the people who are actually losing every aspect of their virtual income, that's hard. Like, that changes the whole, you know, synopsis of the pandemic, that not only are our loved ones dying, we are soon to be in a massive depression and a recession because people are now not gaining any money. Bills are still coming in. I actually seen one of my actual colleagues complaining that New York City still has, you know, their workers giving you tickets at meters. You know, and in New York City, we have meters that
you have to pay to be able to park in a certain location. And that's still in procession. So to me, it's just like, I'm ashamed at my government. Like, I don't know what to say at this point. I don't know how I have a voice or who has a voice to say that this is not okay, but they're humans. They can relate. They know what's going on. And the fact that still stays that, you know, the person who's actually given the ticket probably still needs their job. And the person who's getting the ticket probably doesn't have a job to pay the ticket. So at this point in time, I think things are going to get a lot worse before they get better.
But I think the main thing, which is what I want to impact on everybody watching the live, is that even if you have a passion of something like being a DJ, one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is that being a DJ is like being an entrepreneur. And being an entrepreneur means that you're responsible for your own money, you're responsible for your decisions financially, but it also means that you have to set up contingency plans. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I just believe that a lot of times when people come into this, as people used to say, bright eye and bushy tail, as when you say sometimes, right? We tend to forget that everything has a shelf life, and as I was telling Private Ryan and speaking to Captain John about it last night, there always has to be an exit plan when it comes to this. And part of the exit plan is knowing the contingency. So today it might be Corona, but for somebody else, they might break their hand, or they might get injured, or they might get sick. And if it is that you don't have some other source of income that many times is not even related to DJing, you might find yourself in a position where it is that now, where everything is a crisis and in an emergency, you are now catching tail to be able to financially make. And that is something I think is really important.
It surely is. You know, Shomari, I actually want to flip the script a little bit. And I actually want to ask you a question.
Sure.
What do you feel, how do you feel about the issue of DJs not being able to have a retirement plan? How do you feel about that, and how do you think we can form a solution of that? As many know, DJs don't have a 401k plan. Right. We don't have a retirement plan. We don't have medical. We don't have dental. We don't have those amenities. So what's your intake on that, and how do you think that could be solved, if you think it can be solved?
I think, as I've been saying, during this live series, I've learned a lot myself. Speaking to DJ Puffy on Sunday, he said something that has stuck with me ever since then, that when he started playing tennis, and even when he wanted to be a computer IT technician, he always had a global vision for what he was doing at the point in time. So even becoming a DJ, he had a global long-term vision for what he was doing. I think a lot of people don't see DJing from the business aspect.
I agree.
The hype aspect. So
the hustle. From the hustle.
So you see your favorite DJ on a stage playing, and 1,000 people going crazy, and you just be like, yo, I want to do that. I want to be this guy who could play a tune and everybody will jump up and will go crazy. Or in your case, some fellow will be like, yeah, they're real bad. You understand? So I think that people have to start thinking about the long-term exit plan. And when you start to think about the long-term exit plan, you kind of set targets for yourself of how to be able to do what you want to do, but also to establish yourself as a business, which is something I see in Mixmaster 247 say.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of comments right now.
When you establish yourself as a business, you'll be able to understand, okay, what is the amount I can invest here? How much money do I need to invest but save? Where do I draw the line in trying to make myself appear in a particular way like an entertainer, but not spend out all my money on tea and whatever. And
your nice bag and expensive head.
Exactly. And I give everybody the simple example. I am still an employed person. And at a point in time, I realized that where I work, as much as I used to do a lot of parties, because I still work at the university here in Trinidad, I'm getting a little bit more mature. So for me, I know that there are certain events I wouldn't do again because it's out of my age bracket, or it's not necessarily people that I always party with. So little by little, I started buying equipment. So I have my turntables here, but then I started buying Pioneers. But then guys came to me, it's like, yo, I want to rent some speakers. Didn't know anybody's do that, so I invested in that. And then guys was like, yo, I'm looking for somebody to do a PA system just for a function. So I made investments into equipment, and I still kept my job. And yes, it's been difficult having to travel do events internationally, do things here, put out mixtapes, etc., so on and so forth. But long-term goal for me is that I want to be comfortable in the long run.
Right.
And I want to be able to sit down and say, okay, I made investments here that has benefited me in the long run. So yes, sacrifices have been made, but as you rightfully said, as much as DJs don't necessarily have a retirement plan that might be set in stone by a normal job, we have to set our retirement plan for ourselves. Because half of those entrepreneurs, the same people who own the Googles and the Microsoft and the Apple, they probably didn't have a retirement plan at the point in time for what they were doing. And they developed it on their own. So now they are the industry. And you have to pass through them to be able to get to where you want to go. So that's just the way I look at it, you know.
I agree. I fully agree. And as I was saying before, you know, when I entered the business, I was fortunate to have some type of college background that was able to aid in a lot of my decision making. You know, I walked into this looking at DJing as a business. When many were looking at it as a hustle, I quickly perceived that you all are missing the biggest picture.
Yeah.
Turn this into a business and you could see how your numbers flip for you. Right. And a lot of people will say, you know, my progress was very quick. And it was just really quick because I did a lot of research. I did a lot of formula-based studies before I entered. And when I entered, I had an exit plan.
And that's actually very important because now for people that are looking at it, you taking what I'd call a statistical and scientific approach to the art form of DJ.
Right.
Yes, sir. So you're sitting and breaking down numbers. All right, if I do 10 parties a month and I make how much ever money, how much of this money can I invest in doing what? How much has to go to bills? How much has to go to equipment? Yada, yada, yada. If I have a management team, who can I have?
How can that, right, and how would that increase revenue?
I saw somebody earlier in the chat was talking about having an intern. Right?
Yes,
and even having an intern, like, what is it that you could offer this person, not just financially, but otherwise that would be lucrative to them and lucrative to you? Yes, and again, that is something I think people don't do now. I always remember DJ Carb, I think it was DJ Carbon, tell me once that, no, it wasn't Carbon. It was actually my late friend Kenneth, who used to say that everything is a science. Right? Yeah, it's so connected. But he used to say everything is a science that matter to break it down, right? And even this business is a science. Some people have it much better than others. Some people don't even know they have it, but at the same point in time, it's just a science and matter of breaking it down. To segue quickly from that, we also in an era of what we've been knowing to be the Me Too movement, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
This is something that I was asking in the beginning, which I really wanted to get to. You now being a female, has it been a challenge for you to be accepted as a DJ, or do you still find people giving you that props of, yeah, he's a female DJ? Because I know I had this conversation with DJ Charlotte once, and she was like, yeah, well, everybody just look at me as a female DJ or the girl who can play music, and I just want to be known as a DJ. Like, as a DJ. So I don't know how you feel about that in particular.
I feel the exact same way. I think a lot of the times females do have relatable aspects and thought processes. And unfortunately, the game, I believe, is very still strongly sexist. You know, it's a male-dominated industry. A lot of decisions are based, a lot of what people on the outside looking in wouldn't know. It's based on whether you're a male or female DJ. You know, there's instances where I would be denied a booking or thought twice about getting the gig because of, you know, my gender. And unfortunately, that does suck, you know. I want to be known not as she's the baddest female DJ. I want to be known as she's one of the baddest DJs I know, period. Right. And I'm blessed that there are people that encounter me on many occasions. You know, I can't be a liar towards that approach me and say, you know, Drea, I'm not even putting you in a bracket. You the wickedest DJ I know. Right. And I am very thankful for those people that are able to see that through me. You know, I'm very passionate about what I do. I'm a perfectionist at heart. When I go into something, I'm able to view it and see it and execute. And one of the benefits I've actually had, I would say benefit, I grew up around mostly boys. I'm an only girl child.
Right.
So I've been in a position where my brothers never like treated me lesser because I was a female. You know, they really did try their best to treat me as equal as possible, even if it meant, you know, you had to get beat up during the wrestling session or during the football, we riding the bike and you falling down with us, you know, things like that. And I kind of appreciate that because what it did was it gave me a sense of, you know, not competitors are like, I want to say if competitive is the right word, but I'm competitive. And with that being said, it never kept me in a box where, oh, I only have to be great amongst the other women. You know, it made me see it as this is a fair game or art form, and there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to do what I see my male colleagues do. And in the sense of, I like it as friendly competition, you know, friendly competition that if I have a friend or a brethren or a girlfriend that can do certain things, I would want to be able to link with them and say, hey, you show me this and I show you this, so that we both can be great. Yeah. You know, to me, I don't really like where the game has gone as far as, you know, DJs keeping this one for themselves, or I'm not letting you in here because of whatever the reason may be. And it's unfortunate that that's how the game is. But when I came on the scene, I wanted to make it different. You know, it's a big world. There's so much for everyone to eat. So I always came in with, I would say, a sense of naive. But I think I love to think that, you know, along the journey, you live, you learn, you grow. And I'm fortunate to have met people along my journey like yourself that has that same mentality. Yeah, definitely you, Shomari. And I'm also humble that you actually had the chance to come and be a part of one of my events, Ultra, that I had Labor Day, right? Labor Day Sunday. And I actually wanted you to be a part of the event, not only because you're great at what you do, but because of the vision that you have. You know, when we did meet, you weren't one of the veteran DJs that, you know, denied me of information, denied me of things that were essential for me to grow. You saw it as just an opportunity that, you know, colleague wanted to be great just as I am. And I really do appreciate that. And I think that's something that needs to be said because, yeah, the entertainment is something that's run by greed and jealousy and envy, but it's also run by a lot of great-hearted people that can make a difference, you know?
Yeah.
As what we do, music is something we share to send love and good vibes and unity. And here, when you look at it behind the scenes, that's not what's really going on. Yeah. So I think that's something that definitely should have been said, and you're definitely a contributor of that. A lot of the DJs that are in here as well, I could definitely even call a few names, you know, like Loverboy, DJ Gel. I have, shout out to one of my good friends, DJ Danelle from Grenada. These are all people that I've actually did things like together with, you know, where we help one another rather than, you know, fight each other down for opportunity. I feel like it's just we would rather help so we can all hit our milestones, because when you look at it, we pretty much have a lane for ourselves.
Yeah, and look, as I was saying at the beginning of this entire process, this is something right now with the crisis taking the direction it has, it's shown us all that we all, as I said, reset to zero. And it doesn't matter if it is that I am Redymix DMT, I am still Shomari at the end of the day. And the same problems that might be affecting somebody else might be affecting me in a greater way. And then at the end of the day, I think one of the biggest problems we've had with entertainment and music, which is something I want to mention as well too and talk about quickly, is succession planning. And if you really look at it, I remember somebody telling me the other day that when you look at soca right now, and this is a totally off the topic conversation, but it kind of gets back to what we're saying, is that there are certain artists we've been hearing about for years. Yeah. Where's the succession plan with the music? And if you really look at entertainment in hip hop, we could call 10 names now that nobody knew 5 years ago. And 5 years ago, we could call 10 names then that you wouldn't have known.
That you would never have known.
And yeah, there's always Jay-Z and Kanye and everybody else, but there are names that we either don't know or coming up that have a popularity right now because the music has to grow. And I just think that, especially when it comes down to music, especially Caribbean and DJing, DJs coming from the Caribbean, there needs to be a succession plan. So I see Gel is in the conversation as well here.
Yeah.
Gel is a guy, years I hear about Gel. And you tell me what it is, that when I met him, it was like me meeting this normal guy. It wasn't meeting this big entertainer. And it's like he meeting, and he actually told me, like, you know, I remember I used to listen to your show in 96, and that was like, whoa. So here's this guy now who I know has a platform, and we respect each other based on what we can do and what we want to do as human beings now, not just because, well, yeah, he could get me here or he could give me this. It's really not a matter of succession planning of what we could pass on as mentorship to our next generation.
Right. You know? And I feel DJs forget that, like, you know, the legacy of it all. Like, a lot of the veteran DJs forget you won't be here forever. We won't be 60 and playing music. So where does the mentorship come in? When does that time bracket give you the okay to say, all right, it's okay for me to open up this opportunity. It's okay for me to give this opportunity. And I feel like if the game had more of that, we would be in a better I would say pyramid for investments all around the board, across the board.
I think we'd be in a much more progressive direction.
Right, yeah. That's much more progressive direction.
Because if you look at a lot of those circles, EDM, a lot of those international circles, it's a different mindset to business when it comes down to music and DJ. The DJs are seen as artists, but it's also seen as an investment. Right. Just for everybody here as well too, and again, this is a total side note, which I already didn't know we was going to end up here in this conversation. But I just think that as Black people, we have a responsibility to be able to understand our position in the world and understand what it means to uplift each other now. That might sound real
cliche,
theological. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is that is what we need, because all of us have Caribbean relations, Caribbean heritage. Look, your parents from Trinidad, somebody's parents might be from Barbados, wherever. And we have to figure out a way for us as a unit in the Caribbean, as Caribbean people and as expats from the Caribbean and that diaspora, to be able to figure out a way to push ourselves forward now. And we have a platform as entertainment people who could go and talk to 2,000, 3,000 people that somebody might not have that same platform to do. So it's important for us now to uplift each other now. And that really might sound like something which people might say, yeah, it sounds theoretically good, but we have to turn that theory into practice.
I think COVID-19 is a prime example of that. Like, this is a time when unity is really, really needed. Like, it's the envy and it's pointless. What are we envying in a time of nothingness? People are losing lives, or all these types of things. People are losing their jobs. There's no income. There's too much. So I think we're focused on the wrong parts of the picture as a whole, as a body.
Right. So we're back with so
we back.
Quickly to the point that somebody was mentioning early on. You said that somebody had something in the comments that you saw that caught your attention.
Right. They were saying that they were taught that in the DJ game they had to be envious, and that's, to me, that's not crazy, because I hear it all the time. But I would say that I've formulated a different approach. I was never taught that, and I think it has a lot to do with, possibly, I wouldn't say my religion, but just my beliefs in God. That, you know, envy really doesn't bring forth any positive end result. And in anything that I'm doing, I'm looking for not only positive, but a good result. And envy can't really do that to you. Like, me wanting what someone else has, I wouldn't approach it that way. I would more so look at competition as a way to keep me motivated.
Correct.
That's what I did. I looked at my competitors, and I saw, like, all right, this is where this person is, and this is where I want to be. Not using it in a sense where I would do whatever I have to get there, but I would work towards really achieving the things that they did. We don't know what others did to get where they got. And that's
and that is an important thing. So a lot of times when you envy somebody for what they have, you really don't know what they did to get what they have, good or bad.
Good or bad, yeah.
Don't understand that. Yes,
and that's a big part of life. You know, people would see someone and see what they flaunt now, and you don't know what they did to get there. And some other times those people aren't willing to sacrifice those sleepless nights, those, you know, days of practices. There's a lot that I juggle and a lot that I have to go through just to DJ that people may not even know. Like my family may not be the easiest, and to still put my passion on the forefront and, you know, have a lot of things in jeopardy. People don't see that, but then they will just say like, oh, Drea gets to fly all over the place and she just having so much fun. And,
I know that.
And it's so not that.
Even with me, where I work, my office doesn't directly know what I do, and I've kept it that way because I don't ever want them to think that what I do hinders Redymix hinders what they have to get done. But there are
conflict of interest.
A lot of people who see me jumping on a plane and in this country, that country, and then doing this, and it's like, yo, your life, you GT, but you really get through.
Right.
They really understand. They don't understand the sacrifices that
you've made.
Last night in talking to Captain John, he has probably had a very successful year in the last year and a half with the morning after
Rhythm, right, and then
their promoter,
right.
He and all was like, you know, people
before
don't know then, right, and even from before that, he was working radio. He's a med student. Obviously, he's trying to do other things, and you have to take care of his own personal life. So some nights is multiple sleepless nights, and with anybody who deals with production, they will tell you that if you want to be a proper producer, you got to pay your time. Yes,
I kind of stray away from that because that time, boy, it's a lot of work. You know, I've dibble and dabble in it, but even I don't even think I have the ability to really hold out that much. Scratching and learning a few techniques, that's enough for me right now.
But so with that, I want to deal with the last three things as quickly as
talk
possible.
to me.
So the first thing I want to deal with quickly is LDE. For any DJ who might be here that may think, okay, I want to be a DJ, but I also want to do my own events. How challenging is it to do your own event from scratch, especially, as you said, being a perfectionist, wanting your event to be a particular way? What do you think is the give and take with that?
Extremely hard. There's no doubt about it. You know, once you put your foot in a promoter's point of view, you'll have some type of empathy with them, you know. And I think every DJ should at least try, you know, small scale events just so you could be able to empathize with another, that things really do happen. As I said, the industry does not always formulate the amount of profit you expect it to. Even with big, wide, large events, it takes money to put out the production for a large scale. You know, when you see 1,000 people, you think, oh, that's just a lot of money, or 5,000 people. But to get the capacity, that's $5,000 worth of people. To get a stage and lighting and speakers to produce for 5,000 people, that takes profit that you sometimes don't even make. I've had in my DJ career about 6, you know, events, my 3 birthday parties, 3 summer events for Labor Day, my ultras, my all inclusive, and then some things that I worked with, you know, on spare times, and I have yet to profit. I've lost every time, and many people say the event looks so great, and I'm telling you all honest, I've lost every time. I'm just fortunate that, you know, I love the experience. I love the sense of innovative and creative ability it gives me. You know, I can exercise and show and produce exactly what I see and what I envision. So when I put my best foot forward to execute, you know, my all-inclusive that I actually have a great business partner that helps me with, you know, I'm fortunate that my business partner actually just gives me the full liability to do exactly in what I envision. And my team, LDE, you know, there's people that I have that actually help in those aspects. LDE has become a brand where those people actually help with the production of my events. They help with, you know, my team of telling me, all right, this looks good, this doesn't look good. And they do a lot of the hard work. My mom usually produces all the food for my all-inclusive, and she usually caters for like 500 people because the capacity is like 250. And at that event, people are eating twice and 3 times, and people don't see the hard work that goes into that.
Yeah, but, and I just saw Laird from friends in the chat who was just commenting that all this is very true. I think as people from the outside, we look at DJs who do events, and somebody might have a set of, like they may get 1,000 people, 2,000 people, and you on the outside saying, yo, I'll use Laird as an example, friends walk away with millionaires from that party. And truth and fact, when they count up the bills to pay DJs, pay lighting, pay sound system, and pay for all the other things that you don't see. Security, venue, everything. Just have a different experience. You ain't making no money. You're just making enough. Sometimes you didn't make enough, but at the end of the day, people come and give it the bunks, as we say.
Yeah, like, you look good, you look good.
Dog, your event look good, and you're like, but in your mind,
you're crying. Your pockets are looking good. You're crying on the inside. But it's all for the love, like you said, love of the culture, love of the art form, love of the people. And a lot of the time, during this time, I could say that DJs have proven that we are really important part of the community. How much DJs I see that getting props for their lives, keeping people sane, mixtapes, and and I really do appreciate the people acknowledging that in a time like this. And it just takes the people. There's only so much we could say, but if the people don't really have a positive, advocate behind it to say, yo, what that DJ saying is true, we would really never know. And the people are really accepting it, and I appreciate that.
All right, second question quickly. And I see Jealous in the conversation, so I actually want him to comment about this as well. Today, I just got word that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has cancelled Carnival. I am extremely impressed about that because, as you have known, I've done going on a heavy on the Vincentian market. So that's Vinci gone, gone. Jamaica has been postponed, but we still don't know what's going to be happening with that. My honest belief is that because of the fact that the coronavirus is as widespread as it is, especially when it comes down to the cruise ship industry, they may not have said it as yet, but I do believe that Uber Soca would be affected by this, even though they haven't said it. I
honestly believe as well. So I actually been saying that too. I believe it will affect it.
So my question to you is, how much do you think the carnivals being cancelled during the summer period is going to impact artists' ability to bring out soca music? And I asked that question because Private Ryan said last week, Thursday, that he believes that soca is based on memory music now. So somebody brought a song and you won't really feel it, but when you go on the road and you jam on some guy, or you pelt up some rag, or you jump up on some fence, at that point in time, you go and be like, yo,
that's epic.
When they play Top Striker, the whole place went crazy. We've been talking about Top Striker a year and a half before it started to reach wherever it reached. So how do you think the carnivals being cancelled is going to affect and impact artists' ability to bring the music? Do you think that it's still going to be able to be motivated to bring in music? What do you think about that?
That's a really good question. I never really thought about it. I would want them to still bring out great quality of music. That's a desire of mine. But as far as what they're capable of doing, I'm not 100% sure. I do know that in a time like this, has this been a difficult time to produce great quality of mixtapes? I don't think so. I think it was actually a great opportunity for me to actually just get down to it and bring back that type of memory lane to people that may be desiring it. So I feel like if the artists are in an optimistic position, they will be able to produce some of the greatest music. In a time like this, they should be able to bring back so many great memories of. I actually didn't attend, but I heard that, this Trinidad Carnival again met its expectations and it was great. And I do hope that artists leave that in mind. And, one artist I definitely want to bring shed light to, which most would say, they don't need it, Marshall Montano. But I think a lot of people miscue his gift. And I believe his gift, because I to myself, I may not have been a number one Marshall fan, but in my latter half of my career as a DJ, I've learned that the man is just a musical genius, because what he does with his music is not just think for the here and the now. Most and almost majority of his music, even in comparison to a lot of other soca music, his music is timeless. We can go back years and years and his music will still be the one that people remember, because he's keeping that effect that my music is not only for this time, but it's for our next time to remember how great that past experience was. And I feel like a lot of the younger artists, instead of looking at, oh, he's old and he needs to pack up, I think they should take pattern after what he's actually doing, because it's important.
Yeah. I just saw that DJ Sly was saying that he thinks it's going to be difficult, but possible.
You think so?
And I understand that people think that they may need a fet to push a song, but I think now this is going to challenge artists to prove them wrong on that. Like, it's going to be challenging artists to have the time frame now to produce music that is not based on just having it for a fet.
Exactly. This is the time to appreciate it.
This is the time to earn your name as an artist, not just earn your name as a man who playing out songs now. There's time to, to earn your name as an artist.
Fresh NYC actually just said that.
And I know for a fact that, you know, all of us within this community, we are the ones that are advocating, in fact, now more than ever, because as you rightly said, we're seeing where DJs now putting out more mixes, people putting out more content, and it means that there are individuals who want that content and are willing to download it, buy it, stream it, see people wind up in the bedroom for it. So I think we will still be able to push the music. You know, people are really like gravitating to this whole virtual world. We're adapting, and I can't deny that, because, you know, as much as people are complaining we miss outside, people are still attending these virtual fets, the Zoom, the Instagram lives, you know, and I think it's important that we follow the protocol, because, you know, truthfully, the longer we resist and we still try to push outside lifestyle, the longer this will just prolong. And people are not, like, they're not realizing that. The longer we just keep contaminating outside, let us really give it a solid period for the coronavirus just won't die. It's a virus that's in the air. But what we are doing, we're slowing down the progress, and that's all we need. We need the slowed progress, that there's not so many cases all at once that is creating the wild pandemic. We need the, you know, normal timeline. As before the coronavirus actually got so big, you know, it was comparable to the common flu and the common cold. Right.
Why is it now being so impacted is because whatever is really in the virus right now is able to mutate, and by socially distancing, it will slow down the progress of how many people will be infected by it at a time. And people are not realizing that. So people are saying, you know, they hope the carnivals stay and blah, 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 and whatever. I really think that in this time, we don't need the carnivals. It's heartbreaking. But I also think this is the revamp that the industry needed. I'm not sure if you've experienced it through your conversation, but there's been a lot of murmur that, you know, soca music needs a revamp. The music and the scene needs a revamp. I will take the same exact words that Selector Kerry said, was that this is probably the greatest reset ever that was needed by a lot of people. And it's going to actually allow people to find their creativity zones without feeling pressure that they have to be something or be somebody. Be yourself. Right. Be yourself. That's
two
it.
things I want to get to quickly, because I'm now seeing somebody sent a question here and I want to really get to that. How does playing music at home, how do playing music at home and presenting it in the club compare and relate? What can be achieved through them respectively? So I guess you're just basically trying to get to, how do you compare playing for, let me see, a live, which is correct at 10 o'clock. So I'm just letting everybody know that I'm wrapping up everything in the next 10 minutes, because Drea has a live at 10. So
we sure do. Thank you.
How does playing in your own space and your own zone compare to playing in the club, and what do you think can be achieved by both?
I think it's definitely different. You know, in my first 2 years of playing music, I actually never stepped out of my room. I played in my bedroom for 2 years. you know,
So
mixing,
you
and not even
DJ
live.
for 2
I
years.
was a bedroom DJ for 2 years.
Right.
And then within the second year, I met my friend Barry Bonds, and he was just like, come on this online radio. And I gradually moved up, and I realized even just hearing that I'm being heard by others versus my bedroom, the experience is completely different.
Yeah.
You know, it makes you get anxiety, and that's normal anxiety when any entertainer gets when you're about to perform. You know, that's normal. You need that kind of you know, blood flow and rush so that you can be able to perform to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
And being in a club, again, another step up from even radio play, that you're actually seeing the people interact with you. So I think how it correlates to both, I would definitely, hands down, being the professional that I am now, I miss the clubs. I miss being able to interact with my crowd firsthand. You know, nothing beats that. Nothing beats seeing someone's face when you play a song a certain way and you get that reaction. And, you know, that's why people love Fed so much.
Correct.
But what I do appreciate in this virtual time, you know, people are starting to almost recreate fets in their lives. And, you know, I give it to my people. Only Caribbean people can do such things.
Yeah,
you know,
right,
I'm in someone's live and people are talking about, oh, Pastor Johnny, meet me by the bar table. Yeah. And, you know, they're really playing into the roles. And I love how people are using their imagination to keep us alive. So I do think this will pass. This is a purge that was heavily needed. And, you know, and we'll get through it. I think once the artists continue to deliver, now is the time they could deliver the music that's not only makes them jump up. You know, this year I heard a lot of people saying, oh, soca from Trinidad really wasn't good. And I 1,000% disagree. This year for Groovy Soca, I think has created some like unimaginable tunes that have not get enough recognition and light. If you're a true soca lover, you would understand that these songs is so sweet. When I tell you, some sweet music that has been produced, but it's because people are programmed to a certain style of soca music that gives you a reaction of jump and wave and this and that. It's taking away from the essence that soca music can also make you feel emotional, and it can also tap into a more sensitive side, and it can do all different types of things, you know?
And it goes back to what, and again, it goes back to the motivation behind it. Because I was telling somebody, but last night, Captain John was saying that when he produced Dear Promoter, he was actually going through something very challenging in his life at the point in time. Wow. And he produced that track based on the feeling
of what he did.
However. So if it is that you really take away the want to hear it in a fest or hear it in a party and listen to it in the isolation of the reason that it was produced, you may appreciate it more for that reason. Than just thinking, well, it's a fat tune. Somebody said, do you guys think the artists from the carnival that have been cancelled should drop music for this year? I actually think it's their responsibility to do that, and it's again to prove the point that they are artists for music and not artists for season. If there was any point in time where any artist throughout the Caribbean they need to prove that they are genuine artists for music, is now. Because you don't want anybody to say, well, we didn't have a carnival in wherever island, so I just didn't want to sing no songs. So, no, you are artists, create music.
Create music, simple.
Because, and you know, the best example, you, Drea, Gel, anybody else, myself, all of us, we are DJs, we have no parties to play in, but we recreating something right now because we understand that we are creatives. We have a platform. Artists have the same exact platform, and it's up to them to use it. Quickly though, my last question, which is the most important question. I don't consider your family, I don't want to say they're religious, because I think religious is, to me, the religion is not the big issue. The big issue is the spiritual relationship with God. And coming from a family of, especially I believe it's your mother who has a particular position with her relationship with God, especially for younger DJs who might have parents that might be much in the same position. In that same position. Yeah. How challenging was it for you to get into what they used to call a secular environment?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And be a DJ while your mother up in the corner, hear my cry, oh no. And you down in the corner, you down in the corner with some cat.
Hard in the corner. I even think to this day it poses an issue, you know, with my actual own personal experiences. Like I said, what meets the eye is not always what they may see. And I'm fortunate that, you know, my mom is a minister, a big minister. When I tell you, she actually has a huge part to play in the entire community. And fortunately, she's such an understanding individual, you know, and I was fortunate to have that she was, you know, she was lenient, but a lot of the persecution didn't come from her. It came from others looking in, you know, members of the church, the people outside, other believers that, you know, why are why is the minister's daughter the one that's in the Fed jumping and waving and telling and imposing that, you know, do all sorts of things. But I like to tend to use the parable of, you know, when Jesus turned the water into wine.
Right.
And Jesus attended a wedding and he turned the water into wine. So people would question, like, you know, Jesus being Jesus. And, you know, people say it's not well to drink and get intoxicated according to whoever laws we believe. You know, we're not going to get too in depth. But the fact of that parable was that, you know, God never said we can't have fun. You know, that's not what believers believe. That's not what Christ came. That's not what the Bible instructs, that we can't have fun. There's ways to have fun. Do I think that things that occur in our scene that is way overboard? Definitely. Because as a woman, I wouldn't even put myself in certain positions. If I had a daughter, I wouldn't want to see my daughter, you know, other than our culture being that, you know, we put on costumes and we wind the road and whatever. But when it becomes a bit on top of with vulgarity, I think, yes, there's a margin that religion doesn't have to tell you that's wrong. Morals can tell you, like, you know, there's certain things like me growing up, not because I come from a house of believers or a spiritual home, that as a female, I wouldn't want to see, you know, another female riding on top of a male. Or, yeah, we could whine, but then when we getting into, you know, seductive positions out in the road, I think that's things that me and my partner should experience on our own. And me looking for a partner itself, a lot of the men that I meet on the scene, I wouldn't look for that first as far as, oh, I want to attain a relationship with you, because it's like, that's things that, you know, in our culture, we have to question, all right, is this okay or is this not okay? Do you feel offended when your boyfriend or your girlfriend whines with another partner? Or versus, is there a way of whining that's a little bit too much? And I think a lot of people who are Caribbean-based, they can attest to that. You know, being religious or not, there's certain things you would not want to see your partner do. Period.
So then the question I guess I would like to ask, which could pose of advice to anybody. For somebody who had a passion to do what you're doing right now. So imagine there's somebody younger now looking at this and thinking, okay, well, my mom and my father don't want me to do this. Because that is, I experienced that as well.
You did.
It's so funny now that
I never knew that.
My mother tells her church friends, yes, this is Redymix, you know, come from City.
My mom does that just to say it's so funny.
So what would you say is the best advice to any individual who would want to be able to do this and still have parents that may be not as enthusiastic as they are? How would you advise somebody to continue?
I like how you worded that. I definitely would say, you know, stay true to what you love and who you are. In both directions, you know, when dealing with your parents, stay true to what you love. You know, sometimes being in a Caribbean household, you can get very intimidated by your family, but I believe there's ways that you do it. You know, always staying respectful, you know, showing a plan. Sometimes just a parent, not even being religious, they want to see a plan. They want to see a vision that you're not putting yourself in a position where you're going to be stuck. And for any parent, they know that the world of entertainers come a dime a dozen. We know rappers are a dime a dozen. Everyone has the dream to be a rapper or a singer. And guess what? More than millions don't ever attain that goal on a high level. So I believe that, you know, once you do stay true to that and keep following your dream, I think your parents will see a sense of lenience. And what I did was I had a plan. I always had a plan. So once my mom saw that plan, there was nothing that she could have denied me of. And then dealing with the outside world, you know, there's things that you indulge in, and me, I'm just I tend to be a morally good person, you know. I can't say I'm perfect, but I just have practices that I believe certain things should be and certain things shouldn't be. Right. And I just go out there and really keep it focused on that. You know, I try to always keep my actual movement of music away from the envy, away from the negative side. I try to always encourage a lot of my DJ friends. You know, I've encountered DJs that didn't have the opportunity to know me, and they claimed that, oh, you know, before I spoke to you, I thought you were really cocky. And people, again, it could be the demeanor, you know, the demeanor of when I'm at a gig. To me, that's a job. Exactly. It's my job to make sure I execute. I do what I came to do. And sometimes that doesn't require always smiling and jumping around in the Fed. Sometimes that requires me to be in the back in my laptop analyzing that, all right, the DJ before me did this, this, and this. Correct. I need to go and do this, this, and this. And sometimes it puts a seriousness on a lot of DJs' faces, you know? Yeah. And I think time and place is important. Time and place. So when they do see on the forefront, like, oh, Drea is not approachable. Not true. Very much not true. I'm actually really shy, Shomari, I would say. Yeah. People will say, like, I don't say hi first. I'm actually so shy. I feel like I'm out of place to just walk up to someone who I don't know that knows me and just engage in conversation. But I guess that's things that, you know, learning process. You know, as I go on with my career, I realize, no, at this point in time, I could just say hi to anybody and just be friendly, and it resonates, you know? Yeah,
well, as I've been saying for the last couple of days, this is really the kind of energy that we need.
Yeah.
I see
Be Nice.
Be Nice is here, so it's 9:51. So Be Nice, listen.
Yeah, man.
I'm wrapping up now. So listen, this is the kind of energy that we need, especially at this point.
Yeah.
I also want to say quickly that last year, when I came to New York, the second half of my trip was not one of the best times that I had during for the year. Just a lot was going on.
Nice.
And I will say that Ultra was actually one of the highlights of my year last year. The whole year. Like, of everything I did.
Humble. Thank you.
Your party last year was one of the best things I did. I met some kind of girls as well in that event. So
right.
Yeah. But at the same point in time,
LDE ladies, man, you can't mess up with them. You can't. That's what's sad.
I've always appreciated the rapport that we have. Always appreciate your openness. And this is something that I hope that we will be able to do again at some point in time again.
I was going to say we could do this again, you know, personally.
Yeah, we definitely have to do this again. Just let everybody know what happened at 10 o'clock, please, because I see him Be Nice want to buff him up. So what's happening at 10 o'clock?
And he said he remember you from Ultra. Yes, Be Nice. That was the man who was making everybody get crazy on the stage. Shomari from Trinidad.
Yeah,
so
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock in about 8 minutes. I'm really going to try not to be late. I'm going to do a quick change, and we have Lady Drea Quarantine Radio. You know, I've been kind of sick with the flu, Shomari, for the past like 2 weeks. I actually came down with the flu. I actually got tested, so it wasn't corona. And I just wasn't able to go live. A lot of DJs were, and a lot of my fans and friends were asking, you know, why are you not on live? Why are you not entertaining us? Why are you just not playing music? And I was just like, I was sick, but now I'm better. I went on live, I think it was Tuesday night, really early in the morning, 1 o'clock, and I just had a lot of fun. So tonight, again, we just coming to do the same thing. It's entertaining for me. I don't know about anybody else. I love it. It could be 5 people, it could be 100 people. We're not here for the numbers, for the love of the music, really and truly. And just to spread the vibes. So big up to everybody who was on. And you have some more jokes and fun.
I saw Be Nice is coming, but I didn't even bother with it because
I'm gonna go put on deodorant now.
So people, again, 10 o'clock tonight, right after this, which is the next 6 minutes. Go on Lady Drea's Instagram profile. She's gonna go live with some music tonight. And you can send your shout outs and send your fire emojis and your love eyes and
everything.
I see people want to send all kind of things, so people can do all that. C4,
DJ Redymix, I love you.
I love you too. So
I love Proof Theory. I love what you guys doing. Anytime, you know you have my full support.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
All right.
All right.